Women now own 2.7 million more homes than single men. The majority of home buyers these days are single women.
Homeownership is a scam, and it is not the end goal that millennials seem to think that it is.
Baby, you might be better off in an apartment. Quiet, peaceful, beautiful living space.
Kind of scammed into this thinking if you buy a house and you leave it to your kids, it's not going to go on their kids, it's going to go on their care.
Bang on their door and say, hey, I need this fixed. Now, I don't have to pay anybody for it.
Afford this house. I hate it. I'm depressed.
Hey guys, welcome back to More to Life. Now, before I get into this video, I ask that you like, comment, subscribe. Also, smash that notification bell just to be sure you get on my videos as soon as I release them. Let's get right into this. A couple of years ago, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, it was a big hoorah about women buying homes. And I said, wow, congratulations. You ladies did it. But now, what do we have? Women are going broke, selling their homes. The economy's going downhill. Things are getting topsy-turvy. We're starting to see why they need another person to own these homes with. But guys, without further ado, let me get right into it. And I want to start out with this video here.
So I read an article today that said the majority of home buyers these days are single women. First things first, women, kudos on that. Very, very proud of you guys. Men, we have to catch up. I have thoughts on why that is, but I would love to know your thoughts too. Personally, as a realtor licensed in Maryland and DC, majority of my clients are actually single women too. So I see that firsthand.
So of course, that's why you're happy. That's why you're going to say that about men. Men aren't deciding to make choices they're going to regret. But women do that. But let me let them finish.
What I've seen generally is women tend to be more on it. They tend to be, better established mentally, financially sometimes, to be in the mind state of building wealth through real estate. Men,
Building wealth through real estate. Real estate. Are you buying 10 properties? Like, how are you building wealth with just buying one home?
some single men that are clients of mine, but for the most part, it seems to be the women that are on it. Is this what you see? Is this what you think? I would love to hear your thoughts. Let's talk about it. I think it's the truth.
Look at this one as well.
According to the National Association of Realtors, women now own 2.7 million more homes than single men. Let's talk about that. And here are the top 10 states for women ownership. I'm proud that Maryland and Virginia, two states that I'm in, are in the top 10. A lot of single men were saying they didn't think they wanted a home until they had a family or someone to live with. But the biggest thing is to get in the game. So when you find the one that you want to settle down with, you can sell the house, take the equity, and buy one together. But what's your thoughts? And kudos to all the women in the top 10 states. Y'all are crushing it.
Men don't agree. Why would he have a house and then sell it and buy another one? Sounds like a woman giving the advice, right? It does. So he's saying that men are already thinking how we think. We're not making purchases we can't make. And then this is happening.
Buying a house is like one of the worst investments you can make. And I'm here to tell you why. Let's say you buy an average house, $400,000, 3% down, and your interest rate is 4.5. You will not guess how much this will cost you. Over the life of this loan, you will be paying $319,000 in interest. You're literally almost paying double for the house, right? Because the house is $400,000 and come on now. That brings the whole total to $827,000. So almost $1 million for a $400,000 house. It actually took Jeff Bezos about $300,000 to start Amazon, and now he makes $7,300 each second. Dramatic example, yes, but the facts are you can definitely take that money and do something else with it that might make you even more money. Or if you do buy real estate, because, I like real estate, rent something out, get an Airbnb, rent out one of the rooms, actually make money for you. We all need somewhere to live, so I'm not saying don't buy a house. I'm looking to buy a house right now, but just don't think about it as an investment because investments make you money, and that, my friends, does not.
Home ownership ain't. I just recently bought my first house by myself at 25. I just moved in the house and things have gone to For starters, I nearly flooded my garage. The water heater is not heating. The whole front yard is up. My refrigerator ain't refrigerating, and I still haven't bought furniture. I'm sleeping on an air mattress right now. And I broke out in tears, not because I'm sad, but because out of frustration, because I knew these things were coming. I just didn't think they were going to come this quickly, and I didn't think they were going to topple each other like they did. Don't get me wrong, I do not regret being a homeowner and buying my house. It's just, it's rough out here. It's a lot, and I'm doing it by myself, and I'm trying the best I can. I'm taking one day at a time, but some days it's just bad.
I'm mad as fuck today, so nobody talk to me. I'm mad as fuck. You know why? Because why is the cost of living so high right now? Houses, sky high. Cars, it don't even matter if they're used anymore. They're up there. Food and groceries, up there. Gas, up there. Feminine products, the price is high. Dental, medical, surgical procedures, high. Everything is going up. And you know one thing that isn't? Our mother paychecks. So yeah, I'm mad. Nobody talked to me because I'm gonna have an attitude all day. This inflation is pissing me off. I'm not playing games. Nobody talked to me today.
I got so many bills, bitch. And so much.
Guys, look. If you don't naturally love DIYs, being handy, living an unsoft life, like home ownership really might not be for you. And I'm not saying don't invest in real estate. Please do. But if you don't like taking out your garbage outside in the cold and then making sure garbage cans are at the curb for pickup and mowing grass and shoveling snow and putting out salt when it's time for a some type of storm and painting chips on your wall and replacing faucets and dealing with water damage and repairing a roof and all of the things, baby, you might be better off in an apartment. Some say a condo, I say apartment. Because in my mind, even a condo, baby, if you have something wrong with your sink, who's in charge of it? You are. And instead of getting your nails done, you're worrying about finding those replacement parts and finding someone reputable to come into your home and fix that for you. And look, I think girls can do everything that they want to do. This girl, this woman, doesn't want to be bothered with that stuff, and I think that that's okay. Like, can we normalize successful women not wanting to bear the burden of home ownership without judgment? I just want a safe, quiet, peaceful, beautiful living space in an area that I want to live in without too many responsibilities, because I know myself and I know that it's hard for me to keep up with those types of tasks. And I think that that's perfectly fine. Let's normalize that in 2024.
Well, I heard that, right? Coming from a woman that knows herself. And most men want to find a woman like that. Like, why should she want to take on all of those things? I'm not trying to say something's wrong with one woman wanting it. But what's happening is they've done this. And then they're surprised of that's going to come. You get a home, these things are going to come. There's going to be so many fees or so many problems you have to dish out money for. And a $35,000 down payment or a $35,000 closing cost turns into $100,000. Like the lady said, when your boiler breaks in the first year, in the first 2 months, 3 months, because they've had problems with that the whole time. They didn't tell you. You didn't get an inspection done. Many things happen with home.
For anyone buying a house or has recently bought a house, they will tell you, or one thing you need to know is about buyer's regret. As soon as you get the keys to that house, you're going to be thinking in your head, what the hell have I done? I've spent part of my life savings on junk. Like, take it back. Collect the house back. This is rubbish. You're literally gonna feel like in the bottom of your stomach, like it's gonna drop out from you. Like, what have I done? This is a mistake. And that's called buyer's regret. Everyone gets it. Everyone goes through it. If you're a homeowner and you've gone through it, leave your story in the comments. Because I know as soon as I opened the house, like, I was elated. But once I started thinking about the work that needed to be done, or I started calling up my builder, like, oh my God, what have I done? Oh my guys.
This whole being a mom and working thing, like being a working mom thing, how long this for? Which does society prefer? Which does humanity want me to be? Because doing both of them just don't seem fair. You want me to work these Excel spreadsheets down at the office, or you want me to fold and wash these bed sheets down at the house? Taking care of these kids or taking care of these claims? Like, which one? But to ask for both, that's greedy. It's giving I signed up for a subscription and forgot to cancel the subscription. I mean, I don't really know what that means and how that fits well here. But when that situation presents itself, I be pissed. So do what you will with that information. We don't get no extra benefits or nothing. Like, we don't get a discount card like the military. I mean, and y'all can stop me when I stop telling the truth. We still be having to wait in lines. At this point, we should be getting VIP treatment everywhere. If you think about it, it's unethical. I don't know how, but just think about it for a second. It don't even roll off the tongue the right way. It don't even sound right coming out of my mouth like working mom. We create life, and y'all got us out here working jobs. I would have never have agreed to this. Like, what were those women thinking back then? You know what? Never mind. AZ said we're all screwed because we never had the tools. Do what you want to with that information.
I do not understand the point of owning a home. Not only do you have to pay an outrageous amount of money for a down payment on the house, but everything that breaks is then your responsibility to fix it. I don't have to bring my trash cans to the end of the street on trash night. All of my neighbors are super close, so I could just walk from apartment to apartment and meet friends easier. Anything that comes up, literally anything, I walk across the street to my leasing office, bang on their door and say, hey, I need this fixed. Now, I don't have to pay anybody for it. You're telling me if I have a house, I have to call somebody in special to come and fix something, and then I have to pay them extra money to do it? I don't really think I'm interested in that. I don't want to mow my lawn, and I don't want to shovel snow in the winter. I just don't get the point of having a home.
And that's how a lot of guys feel. What's the point? The extra bill doesn't make sense. A man would rather use that money to invest in something else. But you get caught up in following the Joneses, you get caught up in the headaches. And I've seen those headaches coming up. I've seen it with my mother and my father, right? I seen them get home. I saw the headaches. And the first thing I thought to myself, when I'm ready to take on those issues. And a lot of people just aren't. A lot of women aren't. And they're doing this, and their heart is not in it fully. As you see, the woman said, I got a home, and now I got buyer's remorse. You should be the happiest person in your life. I'm not going to buy a brand new home and not be prepared. That's what men do. No offense to y'all. But men buy a home knowing there's issues that will need to be repaired immediately after they buy the home. They buy the home knowing there's things they're going to have to pay. And they're ready for it. But they're not.
My house is the worst mistake I've ever made, and it made me realize that homeownership is a scam and the American dream is dead. I never really cared about owning property throughout most of my 20s. Something happened when I hit 27, and I just started feeling an obscene amount of shame for still renting. And that continued to multiply into my 30s until eventually I just said, okay. So last year, I bought a house that all of the calculators said that I could afford. I went to look at a bunch of properties. I crunched the numbers. Now, here I'm sitting, not even a full 12 months after I closed, talking to a realtor about putting the house on the market because owning property feels so limiting. There are so many experiences that I want to have. There is so much that I value that I want to throw myself into wholeheartedly that having a piece of property prevents. I will probably lose money since it's been such a short amount of time. Now there's a whole new type of guilt that I'm dealing with because I feel I made a really bad decision when I decided to buy this house. I know that there are a lot of people out there for which buying property is a goal. It makes me feel really silly that I did this when it wasn't an authentic goal of mine. It, to me, in this moment, feels more expensive to spend another 2 to 5 years of my time staying here, hoping that I will get a financial return than it does to just cut my losses and go live my life, or rather go build a life that I want to be living. Because this is not it. This is not accomplishment. This is not success. This isn't life. Homeownership is a scam, and it is not the end goal that millennials seem to think that it is.
I think people are finally waking up. I have just watched a video from, I think her account is Jay's Organised Chaos, and she was basically having a brain dump about how she feels like she's been scammed. Her words were, what are we doing about buying her house, her and her husband? She says they're 37, 38, and they still owe nearly £170,000 on their mortgage. And they've got like 200 grand's worth of equity sitting in their house, providing the house market doesn't crash. And I mean, I'm not saying it will, don't anyone panic, but she's like, it's just sitting there, and they're going to not pay their mortgage off until they're in their 60s. And that's providing they stay in that house and they don't have to borrow more money against that house. And she said that basically, as far as she can see, all she can see that money going on, where we were kind of scammed into this thinking if you buy a house and you leave it to your kids, it's not going to go on their kids, it's going to go on their care. If they're lucky enough to live into their 80s and they end up needing care when they're old because they have a house, they're going to have to pay for it. Do excuse the state of my hair, by the way. I decided to try and blow dry it earlier. It didn't go to plan. Anyway, I thought I would share my take on the fact that I sort of woke up to this probably getting on for about 6 or 7 years ago. And that's because I bought my first house when I was 25. And I paid 145 grand. Hold on. Just had to shout at the dog. I paid 140 grand for my house, and I sold it just before me and my husband split up. And I had to move into a rented house because, as far as the bank was concerned, and this is the other crazy thing, right? As far as the bank was concerned, I couldn't afford a mortgage. Now, my mortgage that I used to pay on my old house was £350 a month. My rent on my house is £1,400 a month. Let that sink in. That's nearly 17 grand a year. That's more than most people earn part-time working. And yes, I raised my daughter and I live on my own. But my point being, in my rented house, everything is covered by my landlord. My boiler breaks, which it did last month, new boiler, no money out for me. If my roof was to leak, landlord has to pay for it. If something significant that isn't mine breaks in this house, it doesn't cost me anything. So as much as people go, oh, renting's dead money, it's this, it's that, right, when you start doing the maths, the math ain't mathing anymore to be a mortgage owner. Because as she's just pointed out, they've completely renovated their house, and she doesn't even want to think about the amount of money that that's costing. Yeah, all right, she's sitting on money in the house. She might, if she's lucky, get that back. But will she, though? Because if you think about it from the point of view of, by the time you've repaid that money, which is basically a loan, and you've paid the interest on it, if anybody who does have mortgages ever sat down and gone through calculating what their interest will be over the 25, 30, however many years you took your mortgage out for, because now, God, I don't even know what age limit they're going to cut it off at, as to when it used to be like you couldn't get a mortgage over the age of 65. I think they bumped that up to 70. And now you can put your kids on your mortgage as well. So we're basically turning into China, that they're just generational mortgages. So that loan will never be repaid all you're doing is renting your house from the bank and paying all the upkeep on top of it. So where people sit there and go, oh, you know, your landlord's the one that's making all the money. Yeah, but he's got all the expense. He's the one with the mortgage and he's the one with the maintenance. And, you know, if his interest rates are wobbly, but he can only charge so much, he's either got to sell that house or suck it up. Like, there's no risk for me, apart from obviously if my landlord doesn't pay the mortgage and I get booted out, but thankfully that hasn't happened. But do you know what I'm saying? It's a case of, yeah, it sounds like a lot of money you pay out in rent every month. But when I did the sums to buy this house, just so you know, and I know we're going on a bit, this house, when I last looked at it, at the possibility of buying a house like this, was probably somewhere in the region of 2017-18. This house was worth over £500,000. Now, in order for me to buy it, I would have needed to have over £100,000 deposit. And on top of that, I would have, on my own, needed to earn over £100,000 just to get the mortgage from, how old would I have been then? 37? So I probably would have managed to just about scrape a 25-year mortgage on £500,000. Well, it would have worked out 400 and something thousand that I would have been repaying, plus interest, plus my 100 grand down that I'm not going to see until I'm 80 years old. And then all the maintenance that it needed doing, because believe me, it's a lovely...
Yeah, so pretty much screwed. And most people opted out. But she learned. She learned the hard way, but she did indeed learn.
To buy a house to not even being able to afford to live.
That's so crazy that you put it that way. It reminds me of this one time back in 2022 when I was actually ready to buy a house in Palm Beach for like $485,000, and I was talking to a lender and he told me I was going to need to put $30,000 down, basically $15,000 for the FHA and then another $15,000 for like closing costs or whatever. And literally within like, I want to say 2 months, I got laid off from this crypto company I used to work for, and then my rent is increased from like $1,900 to $2,700, and I'm like, yeah, maybe it's not a good time to buy a house right now. So it's crazy. Living in the US is wild. Good morning.
Anybody else just feeling tired of being a wife, tired of being a mom, working mom at that? I swear I feel tired just being a woman right now, constantly having to multitask, anticipate needs, and feel like I'm in a constant cycle of giving, and going to bed and doing it all over again. I just want to be left alone for 24 hours so I can just be. And I practice self-care, but clearly it is not enough. I feel depleted.
And that's it, guys. A lot of women are feeling depleted. And it's just something that they took on, especially with homes. Now, she was talking about life. These women are taking on homes and they're realizing it's just too much. So when they're complaining, I get it. Like, I feel a little bit bad. I don't feel that bad, but I feel a little bit bad because I understand they had no idea what they were getting themselves into. But now they're here. To complain now, it's too late.
Yesterday was my 3-year anniversary of becoming a home borrower. I borrowed this house from the bank 3 years ago, and I hate it. And some people are asking me why. Why do you hate it? Because I can't afford it. I can't afford this house. When I borrowed the house, I could afford it, and the bank insured that. Since then, though, when I borrowed this house, my homeowner's insurance was $1,323 a year. Today, 3 years later, my homeowner's insurance is $2,654 a year. That is a little over $100 increase, which is added to my payment. Now, I know a lot of people will say crap like, oh, well, you know, if you buy a house, your mortgage will be cheaper than your rent. Sure, if I were to rent a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, my rent would be a lot more than my principal and interest on this house. However, I'm escrowed, so it doesn't matter. higher because I have to pay principal and interest, my property taxes, and my homeowner's insurance monthly. So I know some people will usually say like, oh, my mortgage increased by $200 this year. Yes, we're not actually referring to the mortgage, which is the principal and interest amount. We're referring to the overall payment that we have to submit to the bank every month. It's not actually the mortgage. We know that, but we're in escrow. We don't have a choice. So it's the mortgage payment that we're paying. When I signed up for the house, I signed up to pay $1,800 a month. I'm closer to $2,200 now in 3 years. That's a lot of money. And it's only going to continue to increase. And that's kind of my issue with this right now, because I'm at a point where I'm like, this is actually no different than renting. The only difference is that I don't have a landlord that I can call when my toilet overflows or, when the basement floods or whatever happens. I don't have that option. Of course, and we all know that going into home ownership, like I had the savings for that. It was, I was fully aware of that. But everything is increasing, and we all know that too. Like everything, the cost of living is increasing, and I can't afford this house. I hate it. But I can't, it's like, I'm probably not going to go back to renting because I invested over $30,000 into living here. For upfront costs, not referring to how much I've paid in my mortgage and all that, but I'm a single mom. And regardless of me being a single mom, I make a decent living. Like, there are people in joint households, 2-parent households, who make less than me or make as much as me, and so it's really not the single mom aspect that I'm referring to in terms of financially. It's more so it's too much for me to do on top of being a mom and on top of working full-time. Like, we all know what comes with being a single parent. So for me, it's just like, it's too much. Life is lifing though. Like, I don't know. I got sucked into the world of, oh my God, I want to get married. I want to buy a house. I want to do this. It's like, I let society tell me that's what I wanted, but when I got it, I don't want it. And I hate that for me. Because it took me a little too long to realize what I actually wanted for my life and not what I thought I wanted for my life, because society makes it seem like we should want certain things. I don't like being a homeowner. I don't like it. And I don't care about, when you pay your house off in 30 years. I don't care about that. Because the end goal for me is just making sure I have some place to come home to, have a roof over my head. And like I said, this isn't mine. Whether I'm renting or borrowing or owning, it's not mine. It's not ours. Like, it can be taken away regardless. I'm depressed. I'm depressed. I'm just waiting to see what I think it's gonna. I'm stuck. I feel stuck. I'm depressed. I feel stuck. I feel lost. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. My rant is over for today.
Man, what she said about the insurance, right? Right now in America, insurance rates are going up. How do I know that? Look what happened to this woman. She sold her home because she was forced. The insurance rates were soaring, so she had no choice but to sell. Here it is here.
I'm not sure if you guys are actually keeping up with the whole insurance market or anything like that currently, just anything that's going on in America right now. But listen to this. This woman says that the soaring insurance prices forces her to sell her house, nearly owning it 30 years. Look at this. Louisiana, okay? Louisiana is the state that this happened in, and this is ridiculous. Look at this article. Okay, so according to Assurify, an online insurance marketplace, the cost of homeowners insurance in Louisiana could jump another, so it's not even done yet, could jump another 23% by the end of the year, the steepest increase in the country. Now, I believe it because, listen, so obviously myself, I'm an insurance agent, and this is why I do all this stuff to keep everyone else informed. But listen, 23%, that is steep. That's outrageous. You know what that means? Again, that means on average. On average. So there's going to be people out there getting a 200% rate increase, and there's going to be some people that get a 5% rate decrease. And if you take a decrease with a 23% rate increase in your state, you are lucky. You just won the lottery is what you did. But this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, look at this. So she owns her home outright, but she has to pay between property taxes and property insurance. She is paying $2,500 each month to stay in her home. That does not, and guys, I don't even mean to laugh at that, but that's horrible. Like, oh my gosh, $2,500 a month, just between property taxes and insurance. Now, I think I saw in here somewhere that her home was $1.2 million or something like that. So then if we just do like 1% property taxes, just give or take, let's just say 1%, that means that she's probably paying $12,000 a year in property tax, so $1,000 a month. That means her homeowner's insurance is about $1,500 a month, anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Same thing with property tax. That's ridiculous. One, I'd like to know what insurance company she's with. Comment below what insurance company you're with. I think I have a feeling I know who it is, but I'm not going to say it. So comment who you think it is. Two, has anyone else seen anything like this? Is there any other stories like this going on where people have received just ridiculous rate increases? And it kind of seems like insurance is becoming a monopoly now. I hate to put it out there. Again, I sell insurance myself, but still, like, it's starting to seem like the insurance companies are monopolizing, and there's not much hope, because this is outrageous. So let me know what insurance company you're with, and has anyone else seen anything similar to this? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so things like this, it's not good. I don't want to see anybody out there homeless, right? This is sad. This is happening right now. The woman, right? They dominated the market as far as buying homes. I congratulate them for that. But like that woman there, she had that home for 30 years. It's worth millions. She has to sell it. Doesn't want to sell it. All of her childhood dreams in the home, all of her children's childhood dreams in the home. Now what? All gone. It's sad, but this is going to happen. And it's going to happen a lot more. Why is this happening? Because more than people want to see it or believe it or not, winter is actually already here. That's what they're showing. This is showing winter is already here. And the people who are booed up with their husbands and wives, need to band together and help each other, help out family, because people need help. Insurance rates are high, inflation high, and where is it not high at? Places like where I am. And more people are trying to see if they can get out of that system and put themselves in a position where they could be somewhere that's more beneficial towards them. But yeah, man, that's not happening. Things are hard back home. But thank y'all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See y'all next video.